There is that moonlight trail that leads to your side, just like the Moonraker goes in search.
Hello and welcome to day 14 of Bondcember. Joe, where are we today?
We're in space.
Space. Space.
And if you don't believe me, the credits will confirm it is shot on location in space.
Maybe they are Stanley Kubrick again.
I don't know. But in this case, we are talking the 1979 Bond film Moonraker, which came after the enormously successful Well-Loved The Spy Who Loved Me. And, they thought bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make The Spy Who Loved Me
in
and
space.
then let's add Star Wars to it.
Yeah.
And then we'll make all of the money and everybody will give us
money.
All the love. And, they were right. It did make all the money, but it was also really expensive.
Yeah.
And, its legacy is...
Yeah, I am Thom.
I'm Joe.
Yeah, so this is this starts well. Like it starts.
Yeah, it has one of the best sequences in a James Bond film.
We're stealing a shuttle.
It's like, how do we follow up this scene where, we have one of the greatest opening scenes in James Bond. Well, let's have him fall out of a plane without a parachute and have to get one from people falling out of it. And it's just like, it is just this amazing practical scene of like, I mean, like, I think you would have to go to Mission Impossible Fallout to find something better where they actually did jump out of planes about 6 or 7 times with Tom Cruise and, the actual cast to find a better, like, free fall thing. I mean, the only thing is it doesn't really have anything to do with anything.
Yeah, whilst The Spy Who Loves Me sort of intro is, no, it actually does come back in the sort of the main plot, because obviously, one of the guys that Bond kills was obviously, Anya's boyfriend. This is just, it's a cool sequence. Oh, and Jaws is there, because Jaws is there.
Yeah, Jaws is there, but
Hi,
it doesn't
Jaws.
have anything to do with when Jaws shows up later. He is just there, and he is there because he was beloved by everyone, including children.
Small children love this man.
That will play a role to what he does later.
So actually, the film actually starts with basically them stealing a space shuttle. It's like, hey, we're going to steal the space shuttle in this really fun sequence that is like, there's actually quite a lot. It's sort of, again, this is obviously what we'll come on to speak a lot about this episode. This is The Spy Who Loved Me in Space. It literally is the same film.
Which I didn't really have a problem with. There are people who are like,
no,
this is just a knockoff of everything. You're going to be surprised.
Yeah.
I kind of like this movie.
Oh god, I like it, but I know it has issues. This is the thing. I will go, it's fun, and certain elements of this are damn good, but some of these elements of this is just the same film, but again, in space.
This is like what I would call a B- movie. This is like something I cannot call a good movie.
Oh, but I
enjoyed the hell out of it.
Oh yeah, very much. And it captured. Whilst it is basically, as I said, the spy. Let's call it the Spy in Space, because it is just the Spy in Space. It's the Spy Who Loved Me in Space, and it's like, it has that same balance of fun and also fun but serious, and it's like it has it again, but I feel in places it's sort of like it goes to that middle ground occasionally, but sometimes it's too silly or too serious.
Yeah, it goes into silly, it goes into parody, and it plays to a lot younger audience.
It is very
because
it's from
again.
it's a cartoon.
The kids loved Jaws, and they wrote letters to the producers. It's like, I like Jaws, but can't you have him do nicer things?
So it very much feels like, and this is what I feel with a lot of the Moore films, as I think I mentioned to you. It's what I would describe it. I can only describe it in this way because I feel it has this very particular mood, particularly in the UK, where this is, the Moore films are the ones we tend to get on television a lot. It is wet Saturday or Sunday afternoon. You can't go out. Dad's probably fallen asleep in front of the television. You've got your dinners in about a couple of hours. What's on the television? Oh, it's the Bond film. Let's watch it. And I get that. I get that vibe from a lot of from the Moore films. And it's like there's a, particularly with these two, particularly with the sort of the first two and this, it skews a lot younger, and it very much feels like a cartoonish sort of, this is the adventures of James Bond, who is a man who does stuff, who is a spy, rather than the hardened figure of Connery, who is very much, there's an edge to Connery, because Moore is a nice bloke.
Yeah,
and it's like
he is into his character, and now he has the clout to do actually stuff like he is very visibly disgusted in like an opening scene where they meet Drax hunting. He is Roger Moore himself despises hunting.
Yeah.
And he was able to work that into himself, and it's just like, and he is what he is. He is, he's very gentlemanly, and he's very, nice, and he will do what is necessary when he needs to, kind of shove off Jaws, and whatever happens to Jaws, with a parachute that doesn't work is whatever happens. But
nothing in this case.
Falling into a circus tent going at terminal velocity does not kill Jaws.
Why would it? It's Jaws.
Why would it? And that is kind of the attitude of the movie, where it is, kind of a silly Sunday matinee.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Particularly when you get to Jaws, because Jaws is indestructible in this film. If you thought he was tough in the last one, it was like he survived falling from terminal distance.
Yeah, he goes from being a Silent Hill villain to a cartoon character.
Yeah, it's like you could tell they gone, oh god, kids love him. Right, we can't do anything too dark in this film. We've got to have a lot of Jaws. Jaws has got to do some fun stuff. And Jaws has eventually got to have, the mother of all face heel turns.
Yeah.
Because Jaws is literally like a wrestling heel / face. It is very much that sort of way he is portrayed.
It's what I would call there's this thing I like to call the ogre syndrome, where there's this villain. It comes from Revenge of the Nerds. There's this character who is ogre, the most anti-nerd person ever. He belongs to this fraternity. All he does is drink and beat the shit out of people. That is what ogre does. He is very clearly a villain to the characters. And then everybody liked him in Revenge of the Nerds. So what do they do in Revenge of the Nerds? They make him one of the nerds. They make him a good guy, and it doesn't fit. It doesn't work at all. But they do it anyway. And the worst of this is the second Silent Hill movie, where they turn Pyramid Head into Heather's guardian, and that is the worst thing you could have ever done with the character.
Yeah, I will say in the case of Jaws, it works. It's
works because Richard Kiel makes it work because he's kind of a charming character, and he is able to turn into the cartoon lovable. To Richard Kiel's credit, he pulls this off, even when you're watching the stupidest thing you have ever seen.
Yeah, and they give him a girlfriend because why not?
Yeah, give him a nerdy girlfriend with pigtails and glasses.
Yeah.
But
anyway, back to the actual plot. So we have our villain, Mr. Hugo Drax, who is Drax is a fun villain.
Yeah, Michael Lonsdale, I am going to say, is a very undervalued actor. I'm having trouble thinking. He was in a lot of like period pieces and stuff like that where he is very dry British person.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think the biggest thing I know him from was the movie Ronin, where he shows up out of nowhere as this guy who makes models of Japanese samurai battles. And he is set up to be this gigantic neckbeard, you know, Asian loving
weeb. You can say weeb.
But, you know, Michael Lonsdale has such a presence, and he has such, talent that he makes this character who would just, like, be this loser incel. And he makes him charming, and he makes him, like, this extremely,
that's the thing.
Profound character.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
and then there's Michael Lonsdale, who is given this dry, nearly nothing of a character, and you know, he has his plans, but he has a extremely dry sense of humor that goes with, you know, his orders and his desire to kill Bond. It's like, look after Mr. Bond, see that some harm comes to him.
Yeah, I mean, he is for basically. And again, it is very much, you know, the spy who loved to be recycled, because for all the sort of the qualities of their villain, it is... Yeah, there's not much to him. He wants to destroy the world, but that's about it.
He is eugenics. I want to, you know, eliminate this whole world of lesser people and then populate it with the people with the best genetics, which is really hot people who can fly space shuttles.
Yeah, because why not? And it is very much sort of like, Drax is a perfectly serviceable villain. He gets probably like the least, I mean, even compared to obviously Scaramanga, it gets the most matter of fact Bond death I think we've seen so far. It's like, I'm going to shoot you with this dart gun. Oh, okay, I'm dying now. Right, that's fine.
Okay. But, I actually do like the first few scenes where, like, Drax stole his own space shuttle, and it's just something they go back on very briefly. It's like, oh, yeah, one of mine had a defect, so I needed a new one, so I stole it.
Right.
Which, like, okay, you can print money. He is an early version of a Silicon Valley like tycoon.
I will say, from a modern perspective, it's like, tech obsessed, eugenics obsessed, sort of playboy, sort of, you know, tech bro. I wonder who this could remind me of.
Yeah. So, but they have to investigate it like somebody stole it from him. So Bond goes to like Drax's place and is like, you know, investigating it, and then finds out there's like, this guy's a little more than suspicious.
Yes, this assassin bloke. You know, and it's like you have Chang, who is played by Toshiro Suga, who is like, he's never been in any other form apart from this. He's just an Aikido instructor, and yet he's like a really fun, I don't think he even had like more than a couple of lines, character.
Yeah, he's kind of a nod and just do whatever the villain says kind of guy. But, and he does the job. I mean, he knows how to work a centrifuge.
Yep. Because Bond nearly gets killed by basically reaching terminal velocity
and then they have a nice little bit of editing where he's like, oh yeah, I have this dart in my thing, I can shoot this and stop it. Like it's a nice little bit of editing. Like, it doesn't, where like you can see Bond thinking, it's like, oh yeah, there's this thing, and like do it and stop. Because when he gets introduced, he gets this dart gun that reacts to him flicking his wrist, which is hopefully Moore doesn't talk with his hands too much, because that's going to be a problem. But he uses it immediately. And
Chang gets lobbed out of the Saint he gets lobbed out of St. Mark's clock tower, and
yeah, and they go to Venice, and they actually use Venice, which is very nice. Yeah. But they, in the opening sequence, there's this woman who helps Bond find things, because Roger Moore is charming, and he's actually kind of tries to cozy up to her, and so he gets clues. And then there's, an effective scene where Drax figures out who did it, and he is constantly trying to kill Bond, and they both know each other's trying to kill. He's trying to kill him, and then they have a hunting scene where it's just like, why don't you try it? And it's like, more Bond is like really disgusted with hunting and doesn't, but he gives it a shot, and then he shoots the sniper that is in the trees that was going to kill him. And it's like, well, did I miss? I was like,
okay,
and
you win this.
And then Drax. Then there's, I don't want to say it's an effective death scene, because it's kind of the person who helps Bond gets killed, and she gets killed by like hunting dogs chasing after her, and it's kind of a really dark, effective scene within this. I think it works, but then they follow the clues to Venice.
Venice.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, it's glass. This is an entire room of glass. I wonder what will happen to this.
Yeah, they make it very clear that this shit's gonna be fucked up
very quickly. It's like, this
very
is
quickly. It's kind of like one of the most. It is the second most. We are placing this thing that is obviously going to get destroyed later. We will eventually, when we get to the Brosnan films, we will get to the number one most obvious. This is going to get destroyed thing in a Bond film. But in any case, the Venice scenes, they are nice. They are shot very well. They use Venice very well. The only problem is they are relatively silly. Like the boat chase. Obviously Drax has an entire army waiting for him, so like he cannot, go through the canals safely. So what does Bond do? He has a secret Venice hovercraft.
Yep.
And then they just have this hysterical, quote unquote, scene where everybody's doing a double take. And it's like there's this drunk who's like looks at the hovercraft and then looks at his booze and like, holy shit, this is good stuff. And then there's a pigeon that double takes, and it's the stupidest thing in the world. And I will fully, if the people who hate this movie have every right to hate this movie, just based on scenes like this.
It is, as we said, I think we said it is a live action cartoon, and it's sort of, again, it does that very strange thing with the Bond music. With the music, it goes, oh, here, we're going to use this cue, and this cue is like, do, 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 do. It's the bloody 2000, it's the bloody Close Encounters music.
Yeah, the Close Encounter, do, 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 is the password.
Yeah.
And he finds this, this fluid that is going to that will kill all humans who come in contact with it, but doesn't hurt animals. And that is a part of the plan, and then he reports it, and then it's like, obviously I don't know why Bond does this, but he tells his superiors, you got to see this, and then he comes back and like Drax has completely remodeled it to like a drawing room or something really fancy. It's like, I'm afraid I do not understand your British humor. And then he embarrasses like the Prime Minister, or not the Prime Minister. It's like there's an important person in there, and M.
Bond, I want you to explain yourself. Why is this suddenly like this?
Yeah, but and then they follow more clues. Which the weird part of this movie is how cartoonish the clues are.
Yeah,
like there are boxes that say Rio de Janeiro in big, fuck off letters, and then there's this like, then they go to de Janeiro to find the clues, and then there's this warehouse where there's this big sticker that says like Drax Shipping, and it's like, whoa, where does Drax Shipping operate at? Oh, it operates into here. So it's like all of the clues are like,
it's
like gigantic grade school kids clues that anybody with a half a mind could see.
It does feel very much like this is skewing younger. because it's like, these are like, you know, babies first things, and oh, we're in space now. Look, space. You remember Star Wars 2 years ago? Look, space. Yeah. And it's and the thing is, it's also it was the highest grossing film until GoldenEye, and it's like, okay, I guess they like this then. Yeah,
it really got a decent response. I mean, I know there are people who were not big fans of it, but it did actually get a somewhat decent. Like, this was when Siskel and Ebert started doing reviews, and this was the first one I could find on a Siskel and Ebert like sneak previews show, and it was actually split. One of them liked it. I think it was Roger Ebert liked it. It was he thought it was a very fun Bond movie, and Gene Siskel was like, come on, this is stupid. So you know, there were two audiences of it even then.
I feel like it is stupid, but you know, this is the thing. It's like, it is stupid, but it's like, it's sort of like a stupid that works. It's like, this is the this is basically going, if The Spy Who Loved Me is the sort of the basically the perfect mid-ground Bond. You know, this is like, okay, it's serious, but there's some comic elements about it. You know, we get some fun sequences. This sort of very much skews over quite heavily to this is a fun Bond film, you know, rather than being a serious Bond film. And it's like, it has this very cartoonish sort of sense to it. It's very much sort of, you know, it's big and it's dumb and it's sort of... And that's about it. It's a big, dumb film. It was an extremely expensive film. This was 34 million. It's the most expensive Bond film up to this point. But then when you've made, you know, when you've got the good grace of The Spy Who Loved Me before it, it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah. Like, you know, it obviously pales in comparison to Spy Who Loved Me.
It's a pale imitation, like, absolutely.
Especially when they have, like, Lois Chiles as the Bond girl this time, who is the CIA agent who has secretly infiltrated Drax and is, like, not quite, like, you know, trying to be Triple X, but totally is. Like, the agent who is Bond's equal, but, you know, they work in different agencies, and but there's no real character arc for her. She just helps out Bond, and then it's just like, oh, I know your reputation. I know all about you. I'm not going to fall for you. But then she totally does.
Oh, no, absolutely. But it very much feels like, oh, it works. This works. Oh, we've got a formula that works. Okay, now let's copy it again.
Yeah, and they don't really know what to do. At the end, she's kind of just like, she has to work the controls because she does have, like, space training, so she does get to do stuff, but, you know, she's kind of the person on the side who is, like, hitting the computer panels and checking things, and that's what she's kind of doing in the second half, which is kind of a little bit more than what Triple X kind of... If I wanted to say one bad thing about The Spy Who Loved Me that I didn't get to, it's that, like, Triple X kind of peters out because she gets captured and then she has to hang out at the villain's lair until, you know, the end of the movie where there's, you know, the big action sequence. You know, she does help, and then it kind of forgets her character arc until the last 5 minutes where, like, oh yeah, she's supposed to hate Bond and wants to kill him, and then never mind.
Yeah, it very much sort of, it's got this sort of goofy sense to it, and it's sort of like, you know, particularly when it comes to Jaws, it is just...
Yeah.
This man is indestructible.
Yep.
It's like...
And then, you know, they move him to where they like him, even though he has, like, killed dozens of people, and probably not very violently, especially by, you know, ripping their throats out.
Yeah. Oh, but he has
teeth.
girlfriends. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, guess he's redeemable. There we go. Off he goes with his girlfriend, never to be seen.
And Yeah, we should probably talk about the second half because there's a distinct divide between like, you know, the first part of the movie and the second. So, I mean, they go to Rio de Janeiro, which leads them to the Amazon, and all of this is really shot well. I mean, the boat chase is kind of bog standard, but everything looks really nice. I mean, like the Lewis Gilbert ones, like use location magnificently well.
Wonderful.
But then we get to like his base, which is actually, you know,
somewhere
a launching pad where they're going to launch just all of these space shuttles in a row, and where he's going to, you know, get his ultimate plan. And I cannot begin to tell you how much this would not work. So, especially in the rainforest.
It's like, oh, well, let's just launch display things from the middle of nowhere. Wonder where...
with it's the rainforest, so the weather is constantly... You wouldn't have a launch window. I mean...
It's raining.
This is a movie where, you know, you're going to get, like... Do, like, the CinemaSins or...
Counter going...
The deGrasse Tyson just constantly bitching about stuff that... It's... Where this movie is a cartoon, it doesn't matter. Where if you're not liking this movie, all you can think about how this is the stupidest thing you have ever seen in your life.
Oh, very much. It does sort of fall into that camp, and like, I liked this, but I will also admit it is dumb as hell.
It's dumb as hell, and it's like space does not work like this. Space has never worked like this, and like I'm just glad Stanley Kubrick wasn't working on this one, because he would probably walk the hell off, because like I spent years of my life just making 2001 perfect.
No.
And this is what you're gonna do. And you're gonna have like one of the top 3 grossing movies of 1979 by being just the dumb shit that does not care about the things I do.
Yeah. Oh, very much. And it does. And it's all... I will say this: the end action scene, where basically, the Americans turn up and it's like, hey, we're gonna have to send our guys to the thing and fight these people because
and they just have space shuttles on hand, ready to launch.
Ready to launch those Space Marines into space.
Oh, God, and it just happens, and it happens extremely fast.
They had those Space Marines on standby, ready to go, and it's like. But the end sequence is goofy fun. It is very much sort of like, you can tell they've gone, right, what do kids like? They like kids like about Star Wars. Well, they like the lasers, and they like the spaceships, and they like the big hulking bloke who gets a redemption arc. Wait a minute, that hasn't happened yet.
It's very silly, very stupid, and they are very obviously doing ill-advised things, like they're having firefights in the space station, which I cannot begin to tell you how much that is a bad idea. And it eventually does turn out the bad idea, because the, you know, space station just starts to completely unravel, because they have been having like 10 minutes of firefights that are just destroying every computer panel in it.
Yeah. Oh God! As I said, the Jaws face heel turn where he goes, well, wait a minute, we're not genetically perfect. Shit.
Shit, they are going to eliminate us. And then, that's a bad idea. Let's help out Bond. And then Bond finds there's this magic turn off gravity button in the middle of the room.
Conveniently with like only a cover over. It's like,
okay.
We return to our sort of our in-running sort of commentary about how to design your base. It's like, yeah, let's not make that a switch you can easily push. Let us give this to the villain on a handset where he can sort of like go, right, my fingerprint, right, I want to turn off the gravity. Fine, press the button. Done.
Can't you have just like multiple keys, and like you have to have a guy and another guy that nod and agree and then turn the key
to turn the gravity off, not the button that you just go.
This is preventable, but again, it's a cartoon of a movie.
It is.
If you're having fun with it, this is just a part. This is a part of the ride, and for me, it's a part of the ride. And if you think this movie is like one of the worst movies in the Bond history, this is just more ammo for your gun.
Yeah, I mean, if you really find this sort of, if you're really that affected by this, just go watch Austin Powers, which basically does this entire finale, for complete laughs.
Yeah,
and it's It's solid. It's solid, but I feel there is so much with this that is just like, it is so wildly tonally different from the sort of it is it's a kid's film. It's the closest Bond. It's the closest
a kid's James Bond film.
Yeah. And it's like it's fun and it's enjoyable. But it's just it very much takes that suspension of disbelief to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's essentially not there, and even though it has, effective scenes and the special effects and the scene making is really good, there is, still something taken away from it because, it's so over the top.
It is. I mean, the special effects were nominated for an Academy Award, which sort of tells you, this is decent. This is good.
All of it, it all works. It all looks just fine. I mean, it's maybe not the greatest movie you ever watched about space, and the effects are, after 2001, it's a little
cheap
that's
and cheerful.
A high bar. But anyway, it works. But yeah.
But yeah,
I think we've done.
I think we've done Moonraker, right? Which is interesting because tomorrow, when we go on to For Your Eyes Only, we're very much back to sort of grounded reality.
Very much so.
We will see you tomorrow.